Chapter 1. Quiet Observer. In the bustling halls of Riverwood High, John Matthews was just another face in the crowd. Quiet, thoughtful senior who excelled in his studies, John preferred the company of books over people. With a keen interest in literature and science, he often found solace in the pages of a novel or the intricacies of a chemistry experiment. Yet there was one person who made his heart race and his thoughts scatter: Sarah Dawson. Sarah was a vibrant, kind-hearted girl whose smile could light up the darkest room. With her boundless energy and infectious laugh, she was well-loved by peers and teachers alike. Sarah excelled in everything she did, from academics to athletics, and was a star on the school's track team. Despite her popularity, she remained humble and approachable, always ready to lend a hand or share a kind word. John had admired Sarah from afar since freshman year. They shared a few classes, exchanged polite greetings, and even partnered up for a science project once. Each interaction left John wishing for more, but his shyness always held him back. He feared rejection more than anything and couldn't bring himself to confess his feeling. Chapter 2. Silent Admiration. Senior year flew by in a whirlwind of exams, extracurricular activities, and preparations for graduation. John watched Sarah laugh with her friends, saw her excel in track, and even attended the same parties, always staying on the sidelines. His friends encouraged him to make a move, but the fear of disrupting the delicate balance of their acquaintance kept him silent. One spring afternoon, John decided to take a walk through the park near school, lost in thought. The cherry blossoms were in full bloom, their petals floating gently to the ground, creating a picturesque scene. Finding a secluded bench, he sat down and pondered his next steps in life. The uncertainty of the future weighed heavily on his mind, but one thought stood out: his unspoken feelings for Sarah. Suddenly, he heard a familiar voice. "Hey John, mind if I join you?" It was Sarah. She sat beside him, her presence both comforting and nerve-wracking. They talked about their plans after graduation, their favorite memories of high school, and their hopes for the future. As the conversation flowed, John felt a pang of regret. Here she was, right next to him, and he still couldn't muster the courage to tell her how he felt. Chapter 3. The Final Days. Weeks passed, and graduation day arrived. The ceremony was a blur of caps, gowns, and tearful goodbyes. John watched Sarah from a distance, her laughter echoing in his ears. That night, at the graduation party, he decided he couldn't leave without at least trying. He searched for her. She was always surrounded by friends, and his chance never came. As the party wound down, John stood alone on the balcony, staring at the stars. The weight of missed opportunities pressed heavily on his shoulders. His best friend, Mark, joined him, offering a sympathetic smile. "You still haven't told her, have you?" Mark asked, though he already knew the answer. John shook his head, his voice barely a whisper. "No, and now it's too late." Chapter 4. Life moves on. Years passed, and John moved on with life. He attended a prestigious university, earned a degree in biomedical engineering, and landed a job at a cutting-edge research facility. Despite his professional success, a part of him still wondered what could have been. One day, an invitation arrived in the mail, a high school reunion. Curious about how his old classmates were faring, John decided to attend. Reunion was a blur of familiar faces and old memories. As he mingled with former classmates, he felt a tap on his shoulder. Turning around, he found himself face to face with Sarah. Chapter 5. Unspoken Truth. Sarah looked as radiant as ever, her smile lighting up the room. They talked and laughed, reminiscing about their high school days. As the night wore on, John finally worked up the courage to tell her what had been on his mind for years. "Sarah, there's something I've wanted to tell you for a long time. Back in high school, I had the biggest crush on you. I was just too scared to say anything." Sarah looked at him, her eyes widening in surprise. "John, can't believe it. I liked you too. I was always hoping you'd say something, but I thought you just saw me as a friend." John felt a wave of emotions crash over him: regret, relief, and a bittersweet realization. They had both missed their chance because of fear and hesitation. They spent the rest of the evening catching up, but the what-ifs lingered in the air. Chapter 6. Lessons Learned. As John walked home that night, couldn't help but smile sadly. Life had moved on, but he had learned a valuable lesson. Sometimes, taking a risk is better than living with regret. And though he couldn't change the past, he vowed never to let fear hold him back again. From that day forward, John approached life with a renewed sense of courage. He pursued new opportunities, built meaningful relationships, and never shied away from expressing his feelings. And while the memory of Sarah remained a poignant reminder of missed chances, it also served as a testament to the power of taking risks and living without regret.